Hi, everybody. I'm Gayla Bentley, and I just had the most fabulous conversation with Kim Sorrelle. And I want you to learn all about all my fabulous escapades and how I went from triumph to tragedy to triumph, and all these tips and tricks that I'm going to teach you to really love yourself and to enhance your beauty to its fullest potential. And to know God will continually support you, open doors for you that you never thought could be open. I was blessed to work at Saks Fifth Avenue and in Paris and have my own fashion design business, all because I prayed and I listened for the answer, regardless of the trials and tribulations I went through. So enjoy my book, Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style, and tune into Kim Sorrelle because she is a blessing to us all. Thank you.
Welcome to the show. I am so glad you're here. You're going to be so glad you're here because wait until you meet our guest. I am Kim Sorrelle. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I get to do a lot of fun things in life, but my favorite thing to do is meet incredible people. And today I have the most incredible person here with me, Gayla Bentley. She is so many things wrapped up into one. Like, you're going to love her story and you're going to love what she's doing. And she's going to even give us all some help on some stuff. And so, Gayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kim. I've been so excited to be on your show because I respect what you're doing and admire all that you do to inspire people. So I get to be one of those people with you. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and we get to talk about all things, right? Like you've
Yes. Oh,
been from,
yes.
yeah, Shark Tank. You were on Shark Tank, for goodness sake. I mean, there's so
Yes.
many things to talk about. So,
Right.
but where I'd like to start though is I'd really love for people to get to know you. So I'd love for you to tell me about 8-year-old Gayla.
8-year-old Gayla was living in Westerly, Rhode Island, and that's the smallest state in the whole country. And I come from an Italian family, and there were 8 of us. And, my mother was an outstanding cook, so I always had some curves because she cooked, she baked, and she fed us to death because that was her way of showing love. And I went to a Catholic school, and by the time I was 14, the school closed, and we had to go to a public school. And I'd been wearing a uniform all those years. So all of a sudden, I had to think, my mother was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to buy you real clothes." Well, I was not really fat, I was just chubby. And believe it or not, at that time, there were very few clothes other than maybe remember the catalog, Montgomery Ward
Oh,
catalog?
yes, yes.
They would have a larger size range or husky for the boys and, slim for my brothers or whatever. And so she would try to buy me things, but they were always so matronly and homely. And so she brought me shopping to Lane Bryant and she dropped me off with a credit card, not because we were so super wealthy, but because she didn't know what to do with me. And I remember woman in Lane Bryant helping me and put me in a dressing room and I tried something on. I said, "Oh my God, this looks like my grandmother. This is not the clothing you should put on a 14-year-old person." And right at that very moment, there was a moment that I heard from God that said, "Don't worry, Gayla. You're going to learn how not only to dress yourself, but help people for the rest of your life to find things that make them feel beautiful and good about themselves." And that's where my journey began, right in that dressing room.
Wow. And how old were you again?
Like 12 or 14, very young.
Wow. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And I didn't even know. See, when you grow up Catholic, you're not necessarily learning that you're going to be hearing from God. There's a different teachings within that religion. So that was the first time I heard from God and was very happy about it. And certainly not the last, but he told me what was going to happen, and I believed it. I was so glad I believed it, and just gave me a sense of calm. And then I adapted the New England way of dressing, which was either khaki pants or blue
Hold on
jeans.
just a second. Sorry. For some reason, sometimes you're muffled. It's like when you
Okay,
turn, when you turn to the side, it really muffles the voice.
okay. Can you
So,
hear me better now? Can you hear me
I
better?
can, yes. Yeah, I hear, yep, I hear you great. Yeah, so
I
I
was
don't know
playing.
what was
I was
muffling.
playing with my pearls on the table.
Oh, okay.
Don't play with your pearls during an interview, I tell you.
I guess not. Okay, well, this part will get cut out. So we'll just pick up where just talk about the dressing room.
Yeah, I was in
And
the dressing
yeah.
room and so upset, thinking, am I going to have to look like my grandmother for the rest of my life until I get to be her age? And God said, don't worry, Gayla. I'm going to teach you how to dress, and then you're going to learn so that you can teach other people how to dress so they always feel good about themselves. And from that moment on, I adapted his words and began my journey to figure out what is personal style for me? What does that even mean?
Hmm.
And I adapted the New England way of dressing, which are khaki pants and a polo shirt and sneakers. And that was safe because that's how a lot of people in New England dress. But I had an afro and I was wearing a polo shirt, and it's on the front of my book here. I don't know if you can see this, but that person right there, that's how I looked. And the person that I'm looking at is the future me, because that's how I felt I wanted to look. And then I wrote this book and try to share all my tips and tricks so that other people, if their mother didn't teach them, they have to learn it somewhere, somehow. And I like teaching about personal style. So you're not just copying a mannequin from a dressing room or somebody you see on the street or, just on a train or something. You want to learn how to enhance your beauty to its fullest potential. And I've dedicated myself to that for over 35 years now. And it's the most fun you can possibly imagine, seeing people have those aha moments and said, I never knew I could wear that. I didn't think I could look pretty like this. And see, to me, it's not about size, it's about style. And that's what I really emphasize. And it's not how much you spend, it's what you choose. So I'm always educating people about that.
Yeah, we'll dive into that a little bit more. But so how did you get like did you go to school for fashion or
No, I never did. It didn't even occur to me to.
yeah?
I went to college at the University of Rhode Island, and I arrived there with all my jeans and polo shirts, a couple pairs of sneakers, my bicycle, and my roommate happened to be a ballerina, and she was very feminine, and I liked that because I felt feminine inside, but I looked in the mirror, I didn't see that femininity. I
Mm.
never had a boyfriend because look at the picture, unfortunately, because you only have one chance to make a first impression, and mine was a tomboy, so I had all great boyfriends, but never a boyfriend. And the ballerina, her name is Nina, and that summer her family owned a diamond factory, and she invited me to kind of work there that summer. And when I went there, I could live with her. Her sisters and her mother, they were all fashionistas. So spending 3 months with four unbelievable fashionistas that wanted to keep making me more and more beautiful. That's how I learned about style initially, because they had me try everything on. Said, no, we got to change your hairstyle. Oh, well, let me help you put some lipstick on. Let me take you shopping. And that family really changed my life.
Wow. Wow. 3 months. So you got an incredible
Immersed,
education
yeah,
in
like was
3 months.
submerged into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I was around diamonds and jewels the whole time as well.
Yeah, that's not such a bad life.
Excuse me. No. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's totally dichotomy from being in a small town by the ocean, to all of a sudden being in the big city of Rhode Island and Cranston and Providence and learning. Anyways, a lot of it is, who teaches you what. And I, like you, enjoy educating people and helping
Yeah.
them. I know you've worked a lot with women from Haiti, and you're always trying to educate them on how to make a better new life.
Right. Would help them to make a better new life in any way that I can for sure. But
Right.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it takes all of us, right? Like
It does.
we all have our whatever our calling is, whatever our purpose is, if you can live in it and then use it to help other people. I mean, that's the
Yes.
beauty,
God
right?
really has, yeah, and God loves it that you do that. And I feel like He constantly opens doors. I've had so many doors opened. I mean, I came to Houston um, because by mistake, I got involved with the mafia. Okay. And only for 48 hours, but I was
Oh,
working, but it was still long enough. And as soon as I found out it was the mafia, I knew I had to get out of that situation. I was selling newspaper ads for a newspaper, and this gentleman named Saint was driving me around. And we'd walk in the store, and he'd say, "Sit down." Then the owner would come out and say, "I'll take a whole page." I'm thinking, wow, this is an easy job, you know. And then my girlfriend said to me, I don't think you understand the people you're working for the mafia. So I said, well, she goes, we have to get you out of there. And the very next day, I received a postcard from Houston saying, move to Houston. It's a boomtown USA, tropical paradise. You can live with us until you find a job. So I packed my 14 suitcases. I had $144 and I moved to Houston and I slept on the floor. And the very next day, after moving to Houston, one of my clients in college, I had my own business called Gayla Affairs because I needed money to pay for my tuition. And I would teach the professors about personal style. And one of the clients called me and said, I just inherited all this money. Would you take me to Europe and buy me a new wardrobe? And I'm like, oh my God, I just moved here yesterday. Now you want me to go to Europe for 3 months? But of course, I'm going to go. Right.
Right, right.
So I go to Europe and I had this brainstorm from God. The day before I left, I called the number one fashion store in Houston. The HR director took my call and I said, you know, I'm Gayla Silva at the time. I'm going to Europe for 3 months to do a wardrobe for a client. When I get back, I'd like to interview as a job as a fashion consultant for your store. She said, absolutely. While I was in Europe, I sent her postcards from every major city saying like the leather is fabulous in Florence and the furs are great in Zurich, blah, blah, blah. I got back. She hired me the next day. That very afternoon, my very first client of my life was the Queen of Jordan. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
you could just see God's hand over all that. And that whole story is in my book, of course. And then I had to follow up because it was a $36,000 sale. My first day on the job, I didn't even know how to use the cash register. And my first sale was $36,000. I'm like, well, it's good news and bad news because they promoted me right away to the manager of the personal shoppers. So, of course, I'm like 20 years younger than everyone in that department. So they weren't too pleased about that, but God helped me through it. And then I had to figure out who my next client would be to match that. And make a long story short, God said, look in the yellow pages because car dealership owners would have money. So I just flipped through them. I picked a name that was very odd. And I thought, well, he might need help. But I called him, and sure enough, he's like, I'm just getting a divorce. I need a whole new wardrobe. So it just went on from there. Then Saks Fifth Avenue called me because they heard of my work that I was doing, and they asked me to interview with them. I interviewed with them. I became their fashion director. That was the number one store I always wanted to work for because that really opened the door to the Fifth Avenue Club that I was the director of was a club that entertained the wealthiest and most powerful people behind closed doors, so no one knew what they spent. So I
Mm.
learned about high fashion with all of that. I still was dressing, I was still taking the bus and trying to figure out where to find clothes for women with curves, which I did have. Now I would just look at the women on the bus and see who was dressing well, and I'd ask them, "Where are you shopping?" And that's why you can always figure out a way, but you have to be assertive and you have to pay attention because I couldn't afford where I was working the clothes at Saks Fifth Avenue, but I still had to look like I worked there. And then about 8 or 9 years later, I was delivering $150,000 worth of jewelry for a client because the husband would not come in and buy his wife a gift, which frustrated me because it was their 25-year anniversary. I wanted to make sure she received something great. And on the way to deliver the jewelry, I was in a car accident and I broke my neck. And so ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. And it's all, you read the whole story in the book. But the reason why it was the best thing is because I'm so dedicated to what I do. I was never going to leave the corporate world because I was dedicated to my clients and the corporation. And when you break your neck, I had to wear a halo and I was out of work for, a couple of years. And so I was able to explore new ideas. And one of them was to go to Paris because my cousin lived there. And I went to visit her and I said to my husband, I got married to a most wonderful Christian, fabulous man in the whole world, Russell. And he said, well, if you want to stay in Paris, we have to come up with a job for you to stay there. So I would brainstorm with all these expatriates that my cousin was friends with, and we came up with a job. I would take women shopping in Paris and teach them about French style. So I developed a business called Co-Tours, and I reached out to all my clients that I developed in Houston and see if they wanted to shop in Paris. And sure enough, they did. So year after year, I would take women shopping in Paris, but year after year, there were never clothes over a size 10 or 12. So I was coming home with these amazing accessories like what I'm wearing now, but there was nothing to wear from the neck down. Still, I'm in the capital of what I consider of fashion, which is Paris and there weren't any clothes. And I would come home and tell my husband always, and he said, well, maybe it's time, God's saying to you, why don't you become a fashion designer and start designing clothes that have um, challenges with their figures. And make a long story short, I prayed about it and I had to leave my fabulous career there. But I decided if I really want to help women, this was what I needed to do. So I established the Gayla Bentley Fashion Design Group. And I would design clothes from sizes 2, which is very little, 0 to 2, all the way to 28, and never turned anyone away, no matter what their size was. And I had a very acclaimed, you know, reputation. I was very blessed. My first client was Neiman Marcus to put my clothes in there, which is a very high-end store in Texas. And went on from there over 200 boutiques around the world. And then I was able to, that was all luxury dressing, but my real heart always went to how can I dress women that are on a budget, like I
Mhm.
always used to be. So then I developed another label that would be less expensive. But in order to have clothes be less expensive, you have to manufacture overseas. So one day, Shark Tank, oops, yes, I wasn't going to mention their name, but it's too late now.
It's okay. That's
That's
all
okay.
right.
They
No
call.
problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I get a call from a network that says we have this new show going up, and we've been reading about you, and we think you would be a great fit for our first shows. Would you like to be on it? And for us, it was a blessing and an answer because we were on fumes because in the fashion design business, you always have to work a year in advance. So you're always spending a year in advance worth of money as well before it comes in.
Mhm.
And so it'd be perfect if we could get a couple of these investors to see my vision and invest in me. So we prepared and prepared. We were, obviously chosen, went on the show, and two of the investors together put in $250,000 and they wanted 50% equity, and we were thrilled. This is
Yeah.
exactly what you did. Not only the infusion of money, but I already went past what I thought I was going to be able to accomplish, but I needed the expertise of people that were in bigger business to help me spend the money where it mattered and help them use their publicity to help me grow as well. So
Yeah, I just watched your episode actually on Shark Tank.
you,
And it
Kim,
was so fun. Oh my gosh, you were so composed and you did such a great job on the show and got the deal and with Damon and
yeah,
uh yeah
Barbara,
and Barbara who I adore. And
she's great.
the fashion that you had on there was beautiful. Just
Thank you. That's one of my
beautiful.
all those are all my thank you. I just loved, and I still do love having women choose what everybody else where they can find it for themselves. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you have curves, um, it always only goes to a size 10 still or 12. And then everything after that, it's so ironic that they're not attractive sizes because designers, they grade up, but I graded two fashion body types. A small body type like yourself was one group of patterns, and a body type like myself, size 12, 14, became a new size that we grade up because we hold our place with women with curves like in our upper arms and our stomachs. And the shoulders never change, but the other designers are grading the shoulders as well as the stomach. So you have these jackets that are out here to go down through the stomach. Anyway, I figured all that out and I just loved making these beautiful clothes. So I thank you for that compliment because I put a lot of effort into it. And the deal never got consummated with Barbara and Damon because they got so busy with the show and got picked up again. They felt they did not have the time for me at the time. And I had to, once again, just pray about it. What am I going to do? And the very next day, I got a phone call from a huge department store that put in $1 million order the week later, and I could do it with a lower price point merchandise. So really satisfied exactly what I've always wanted to do. And Damon and Barbara would still mentor me if I needed them to, and still will if I need them to. But Damon felt, you know, um, challenged and he said, but I want to help you find the right person because you have to manufacture overseas to keep these retail costs under $40. So he introduced us through someone that he knew, but we didn't have time to vet that person. So my biggest lesson to you is no matter if it what you're going through and you have to make a fast decision and there's money involved, you have to get a lawyer involved and vet the person because in our case, we were cheated. They took all of our money and they never delivered the merchandise. And
Oh,
that had us close our doors and end
oh
that
no.
following year. And this was for me was not just closing a business. It was saying like leaving my family and just had to say goodbye. And I just went to bed like for 2 weeks and cried the whole time because I didn't know what to do. But again, with God's help and my faith, I came back from that and I started working with felons because I found the day we were closing our shop, the very last day, this group came by to my design atelier and said, we're selling banana bread. Would you like to buy a loaf for $3? We're felons that are trying to rehabilitate ourselves. So we're selling banana bread. And if you have any jobs for us, we'd be happy to help you. So that's how I was introduced to them. And then I called on them after this happened to me and I said, can I help you all? Because you all helped me. So I would clean out garages with them for people and I would just sweat the pain out because it was so from the heart. Because from 12 years old, God had me on this mission and all of a sudden I had reached the pinnacle of it and now it was gone. What am I going to do? And anyway, I learned a lot from them. They learned a lot from me. And then a lot has grown since then. But
Yeah.
in a nutshell, I was at Saks Fifth Avenue for 10 years. I worked in Paris for 10 years. I had a fashion design business for 10 years. And I'm in an interim now that's been working out really well. And if you'd like to know more about that, I can tell you now.
Well, of course I would, but I also have some questions. Back it up a
Yes, yes,
little
I
bit
figured.
because you gave us so much information. So I love that. I think of like the scene from Pretty Woman, where she's
Yes,
on Rodeo Drive and they won't
yes.
give her the time of day. And uh how did you
Perfect
handle
analogy.
things like that? Yeah.
Perfect analogy. God just gave me the strength and the right words. And see, because I did pick up style, I only you only have one chance to make a first impression, especially spending all that time in Paris. And it explains in the book how I would just sit at a cafe and observe French people or tourists and learn how, and I would just really concentrate on the people that I thought were living in personal style and make notes. So I would start developing a personal style, like have my hair blown dry and straight instead of no more afros, like just wearing a pair of pearls with a black top. I met an eyewear designer and her and I worked together for still to this day. She came to Houston and we did eyewear makeovers. I just started looking the part so people would listen to me. It
Mm.
does make a difference how you present yourself, and that's what the book is all about. But you can present yourself as an athlete, not always just a fashion person. It's just whatever your lifestyle is in life, present yourself in that lifestyle to the fullest potential. Like I have a chart in the book that you fill out. Like, what would you wear to a soccer game? What do you wear to bed? What do you wear to the grocery store? You start editing your wardrobe, and it teaches you how to do that because people fill their wardrobe with just pieces and not, they don't make outfits. And then they have all these pieces that just sit in their closet and they go, well, I have nothing to go with that. So, anyway, it's
What a
all
good
about making
point. That's so
yeah,
true.
it's all about making. So now I make outfits and literally hang them together so I can be like Superwoman and teach other women or men to be Superwoman or Superman. They have a whole outfit that's put together and they can just jump into it in minutes, saves time, money, and aggravation, and then you have one of the best, excuse me, dressed people in the room.
Mm, I like that. I like that. It's interesting to me. It's been interesting to me that our closets are so full, right? Like I think about like even my mom's generation, how many clothes they had. I mean, you go into an old house, those are some
Mhm,
small closets. And
mhm.
now when any house is built, it's all about the
Mm,
closet space and all about the room. But I don't know. I would think that there's a whole lot of people, including I'm guilty of this. There are more clothes in my closet than I wear.
that's right.
And I always think there's certain things that I feel great in. And I just want to wear those things every day.
Yes. So that's why we
Right?
have to get rid of your other clothes so that you,
Right.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And That's why I explain that the last part of my book, but I take them through my journey so it doesn't sound like I'm preaching to people. And I like them to see how I went from the jeans and polo shirt to now understanding. You brought up such a good point about the closet space. One thing I learned in Europe is the closets are very small because their territory is smaller than in the US. So they would buy better and buy less. And I
Mm-hmm.
adapted that principle. Instead of keep going to Marshalls and paying $14.99 or $12.99 for a top, why don't we fall in love with something? Even if you want to just go to Ann Taylor or Talbot's, because there are different levels depending on your budget where I would suggest you shop. But just buying the thing that when you put it on, the fabric feels good, the fit feels good. And even if something you wear at the grocery store, wear a t-shirt that has something on, a message that you want to promote, or a pair of pants that fit you well. Don't look like you just came out of cleaning the garage. So you just get rid of all those other clothes. And if you don't have any money at all, I teach you how to shop at a thrift store. So there's all levels of shopping. And then if not, I take you to Paris and shop if your budget is no problem. So there's all ways of doing it, but buy less and buy better
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah. I think that makes so much sense. And,
Yeah,
yeah, I was just going to say, now I'm thinking about, should I say this? But I will.
yeah, sure.
So another thing about fashion, another thing about clothing is I love the buy less and buy better quality. And you're going to spend more money for it, but it's going to last you
Yeah,
longer. You feel great
excellent.
in it. Just buy what
Exactly.
you love,
Exactly.
not what's mediocre, right?
Right.
Because for some reason, we're become the society that wants to go to Walmart and buy
Yes.
six t-shirts for $10, right?
Yes.
I don't know when you're wearing those six t-shirts, but we
You
want
got them. You got
more
them for
and we want it
$10.
cheap. We want more and cheap. And
Yes. Very good
meanwhile, the,
point.
the people that are making it are not making anything.
No. So you don't want to really support that.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
And then it's wonderful to support the personal business owners and their boutiques.
yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
try. Like I was, in my own business, and I was a woman in business, and it helped me a lot that everybody shopped at my store instead of going to, Walmart or Marshalls or whatever. And I still am guilty of, because I go to Walmart sometimes, well, like to pick up, what do you call it? Groceries. Then I would
Mhm.
swing by the clothes department. But see, they've upgraded because that's a whole nother story. I'll talk to you about that. Target, Walmart are upgrading to compete with Amazon, but I'll tell you about that at another time. But 'cause everybody's buying over the internet, so they all have to compete with each other, and it's going to be hard for me to talk about it, so I won't. But I just wanted to say one thing about my Haitian friends that I just thought about was, so my business I told you I was very successful in, my best friend, who I met in church on an elevator because she was wearing this unbelievably well-made outfit. And I said to her, I love your outfit. And she said, Oh, I made that. And I said, Oh, you sew? She goes, "Oh, that's my life sewing." I said, Would you be willing to come over to my house someday so I can talk to you about working for me? She goes, Well, I'll come over right after church. So she came over and we were together until she just passed away this year. And her whole family has adopted us and we've adopted their whole family. The women can sew without a pattern. And for people that sew would understand that. That's a huge thing. Like, say that tank top, you love it, you wish you had it in 8 colors. You just give her the tank top and the fabric, and she'll give you 8 of those back without a pattern. It's going to fit you under the arm, it's going to be the right length, and the talent is just unbelievable. And then we lost our home to Hurricane Harvey. I lost my whole wardrobe. That's happened in the
Mm,
last years. I lost all my clothes, my accessories. Challenge.
mm.
It was such a big challenge. But the Haitian family that we've adopted, they rebuilt our whole home. So beautiful. And to this day, that's just, I have such a huge respect for that country and for those people because they're so talented and they offer so much that I had to put a shout out for them.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you did. Yeah. I think especially now with immigration rules
Yes.
and different things, I'll tell you, after spending a lot of time in Haiti, which is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, shares an island with Dominican Republic. For anyone who isn't sure where Haiti is, not far from Cuba, it's just right over there and in the Caribbean. And uh, it's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to live. They've got so much
Yeah.
political turmoil. I mean, it's just really sad. And jobs are
And it,
scarce.
right. And they've lost a lot of people coming to Haiti to help them because they're afraid for their life because of the
Yeah.
terrorism that goes on. So I feel, yes, I'm with
Yeah.
you all the way. And anything we can
Right.
do that you come up with to help, please keep me in the
Yeah.
loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because yeah. And right now it's even worse. I mean, just things have
Yes.
just keep getting worse. And so um, I think often people from Haiti are misunderstood, and
Yes.
people think, well, shoot, go get a job. They must be
Right.
lazy because they,
Yeah.
if they're not
Yep.
eating, they eat 3 meals a week. Well, holy cow, go get a job. Well, there are no jobs. It's not
Right.
about being lazy.
There's no
It's about
opportunity. There's not any
exactly,
opportunity. And then they come
exactly.
here, the opportunity is tough because people see them as an immigrant. And it's just, yes. And
It's
so,
yeah. And I'll tell
mhm,
you, if I was a mama with kids in Haiti, I would be on whatever boat would take me and try to get to the
yes.
US because,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
And those are the families
any
I
mama
know
would.
that came,
Yeah.
those are the families that I know took their families and came here and made new lives for them. And that's wonderful. But not everybody is so blessed at the moment for that. So we have to pray for them.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. For
Uh-huh.
sure.
But anyway, I
Yeah.
learned so much from the Haitians because, as I told you, I learned how to build a house. I learned how to make clothing. And it's ironic when I'm learning from them and they had to teach themselves.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
their brain worked that way because they were survivors.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm a survivor. I've had all these medical issues. I broke my neck. I've had two new knees, a new shoulder. I had to wear an ostomy bag. If you know what that is, it's dreadful. I said, God, I want a Chanel bag, not an ostomy bag. You
A
know,
Birkin, maybe something,
yeah,
anything.
something like that. I've had a stroke. I had heart surgery 3 weeks ago. I mean,
Oh, wow.
there's always something that comes up, but I always am able to push through it because I have this mission that I'm on, that I feel very strongly about. So I said, okay, God, you just want me to slow down for a while. Let me recover from this. And when I'm recovering, I'm praying and thinking about, okay, what am I going to do next? And it was
Mm-hmm.
really Tony Robbins. You're familiar with him, I'm sure. Well, he's the one that helped me to write my book because I told you we lost our house to Hurricane Harvey, and I had lost my business, and I had gone to Hollywood, and I had done two pilots. Barbara Corcoran helped me to get a pilot for a TV show, and then I also wrote a pilot and filmed it, and I brought them both to LA to pitch them. But I never pitched a TV show before, and that's a whole nother world as well. And once again, just like when Barbara got me involved with QVC, they're like, come back when you're more popular. Everybody wants you to be more popular and have a million social media followers. So I'm always working on that. And so I took a 4-day class with Tony Robbins. And the whole reason for me taking the class with my girlfriend, Robin, was I wanted to figure out what am I supposed to do next to become more popular, yet still follow my mission.
Mm.
And in Hollywood, they said, we love you. We love your show ideas, but you're not popular. Come back to us when you're more popular about doing the show. So, make another long story short, in the 4 days with Tony Robbins was a very interesting experience. Nothing I expected it to be. It was more spiritual than I expected. And they never tell you what to do, but they put you through so many exercises that you release from your toes to the top of your head all energy that might be negative in any way or any past thoughts or anything. So you're free to think clearly, and you do so many exercises that you're pumped up. And the idea that came to me is, why don't I write a book about my life and I could sell the book? I have something to sell and promote. This is how I could become more popular. And that's what came out of my 4 days with Tony Robbins. And he has you very strictly write a timeline. Okay, whatever you've decided to do, let's get the calendar out. When are you going to have it done by? And by George, I followed that calendar. And by George, here is the book.
And it's
So
beautiful. It's
thank
beautiful.
you.
And
Thank you. But
congratulations.
see, thank you. But
Yeah,
that's how that all came
awesome.
about because you can't worry about you lost your business, you lost your home, you have to wear an ostomy bag, you broke your neck, blah, blah, blah. But every tragedy, there's a triumph. So I love triumph, tragedy, triumph, tragedy. And I just like people to push through. And I love to encourage people to read the book because it's faith-based in the sense that don't give up. Pray, but listen for the answer. help other people, that helps you to help yourself the most. The more you help other people, you're helping yourself find your way in God's will.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. That's so true. It's so profound. I found that out about grief. And I've never heard anybody talk about service being the greatest healer of grief.
Oh,
And
wow.
but
I'm
it
happy to
is.
hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Did
amazing.
you have something that you had to go through with grief that,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was 47 and I was diagnosed with cancer. And 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and he
oh
passed away
no.
6 weeks after that. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, I'm so,
so that's also how I ended up in Haiti, actually, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And
yeah.
so I thought, well, do I go back to my businesses? But people were running them. I didn't need to do that and go back into the nonprofit world. And I ran into the man who was running a nonprofit. My father and I had started 10 years before. And I ran
Isn't
into
that
him,
something?
yeah, in between Christmas and New Year's. And I said, hey, do you need any help? You need anything? And I
Oh,
said, how
wow.
about bookkeeping? And he's like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. So January 1st, I started as a part-time bookkeeper. And 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people.
I remember that. Oh my
Yeah. So
gosh.
I was in Haiti. That's, yeah.
Are you,
So
you were in Haiti?
I was there
You
within
went to
two
help.
weeks after the earthquake and then stayed. Yeah. And worked.
Bless your heart.
But
Hmm.
that
But
definitely
helping the
service was,
people helped you.
yes,
That's how it was with
yes.
me with the felons. Service, service,
Mhm.
service.
hmm And you
It's
can't
amazing.
outgive. Isn't it amazing how you
Oh,
can't
I love that
outgive,
line. I love that.
right?
You cannot outgive. That's so good.
Yeah.
That'd be a
You
good t-shirt. You cannot outgive.
it's so true. You go thinking you're helping, you're going to do something, but what you get out of
Yes.
it is so much greater than anything you can put into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's just why you and I can inspire other people to know that. And it can be on any category of life. Like, I'm in
Yes.
fashion. Who would think that would be such a giving opportunity? But you go into the soul of people that have never felt good about themselves. There's a lot of people out there that feel like that. They're always comparing themselves to other people. My one line from Oscar Wilde that I love is, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And that's what I try to help people to understand. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. I'm not going to be 6 foot tall blonde with long legs. It's not happening. I'm 5'4". I'm a brunette with curves. So let me utilize this to my fullest potential. Let me show you how to use what you have to your fullest potential. It's all about when you walk in a room, people go, what style she has? And I'm like, oh my God, she has curves. And that's what I'm
Right.
just trying to get all of these points across, and all of the points about if tragedy strikes, triumph will prevail if you don't give up. Those are
So
my
true.
those are my messages.
Yeah. Well, and people might go, well, fashion, how does fashion fit in exactly? But my word, we're supposed to love ourselves,
Yes,
right?
God wants
You
you
know,
to.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, he tells us in Leviticus, it says,
yes,
love yourself and
yes,
love others, right? And
yes,
then Jesus
yes.
said it more than once, love
Oh
yourself,
yeah,
love others. And
yes,
so you want to feel good about yourself. And
right.
you talked about first impressions. It's hard to get away from first impressions, right?
And
Because
you
soon
don't want to
as
be
you,
judgmental. And it's
right,
not a judgmental thing. It's a visual thing that happens to a person when they look at you. They can get past what they see eventually if you have enough time with them. But
hmm
if you can make a choice and buy a t-shirt for $5 that doesn't do anything for you, or a t-shirt for $5 that does a lot for you, let me teach you or teach yourself how to do that. So again, it's not about the money. I want to get away from that. It's what you
yeah,
choose.
right. Not about the money and it's not about excess. It's not about
No,
having too much to choose from,
no, no.
but
It's
having the
just the
right pieces.
opposite. It's just the opposite. Having
Mhm.
less and making outfits with that. And then in my book, it explains how you should keep a shopping list. So, for example, if you were wearing that tank top and you wanted a jacket to go over, but you didn't have the right jacket, so on the shopping list, which you keep in your purses, jacket to go over my very tank top. So when you're shopping and you're doing, what do you call it, retail therapy or whatever, use a shopping list to complete things in your wardrobe, and
Ah,
not just buy something randomly. So you're going to buy the blazer that takes that tank top to another level, and it's always available for you in your closet. And
I
then you
love
play with the
that.
blazer. Yeah, so that's, I have a different way of approaching wardrobes and approaching how to shop and how to spend.
Yeah. How do you determine somebody's style? Like everybody has their own
Right.
unique style, right?
Yes,
Or
that's
not
what we're,
everybody's dress is the
yeah.
same or yeah. How
Well,
does
this
that
one,
work?
well, that's like in the back of the book, there's a chart there that has like, say, 25 categories, and it has like, from, you know, activity, all the activities you can think of to going to weddings, this, that. I find out what you go to. Like, say, if you're a stalker mom, you're not going to necessarily country clubs on the weekend for dinners. I'll just use that as an example, or flying to Paris tomorrow because you're right now raising your children, you're a stay-at-home mom. So I know that that's a different lifestyle than the woman that her children are out of the house. She's has a lot of time on her hands, so she's going to go to lunches with friends. So that's a different lifestyle. So I interview people or have them interview themselves in the book, in the chart. So they determine what is their lifestyle. So they dress to their lifestyle. And then their lifestyle can change again. As I said, like if the kids go off to school or whatever, like you were grieving, you had a different lifestyle when you went to Haiti than you had at home running businesses. So you needed very different clothing in Haiti than you were wearing before. So that determined your lifestyle, where you lived, what service you were doing, or what job you had, what impression you want to make. It's all about that lifestyle. People are single, they have, like I have dating wardrobes. I teach people how to have dating wardrobes. You
Yeah.
know, I teach people how to love buying a bathing suit and how to look good on your way down. I mean, all if you lose weight, you always like if I had $1 for every woman that said to me, I'm not gonna buy anything new until I lose weight. And then
Right.
she ends up wearing clothes that are too small, and that's like the worst thing. It makes you look twice as heavy. So there's all these philosophies that brought me through my journey through style and wearing the right underwear. The wrong underwear ruins an outfit. I don't care how much you paid for it. But if your cup runneth over and you can see that in your shirt, or you have a muffin top because you're a bikini underpants and you shouldn't be because you have a little roll there, and the only rolls are with dinner, you know,
Right.
it, the first thing I have people do is do their underwear drawer in my book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you have special lingerie that you want to wear for special occasions, that's different. We're talking about everyday lifestyle, wearing the right underwear. Like one of my personal trainers, she wears the wrong underwear and it kills me because I don't know how, that's a tough subject to bring up.
Yeah, I guess it would
You know
be.
what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Like
Right.
like I dressed one of the first ladies for the inauguration. And so with all the people I dress, everybody has to get down to their underwear. I mean, because we have to take the measurements. And
Mhm.
then I have to make the decision, am I going to discuss underwear with this
Right.
person? Okay. Now you're
Yeah.
dealing with you're dealing with the First Lady of the United States. Um, should I be discussing her underwear with her? So I've come up with so many, God has given me the right words to say to people. Like, this is one of my favorite lines that God gave me. You're prettier than that. So I think we should look for something else that would make you even look slimmer and taller if we change that bra. And let me give you a couple of ideas. This is before the internet. Let me show you some new ideas for bras as opposed to, why are you wearing that bra? Do you know what that's doing? You're ruining your whole image. My God, you can't yell at the people.
Right.
So, and see, I have a heart for that because I didn't want to be yelled at myself
Mm.
or being talking to down or negatively. Because as being a woman with curves, even though I'm a size 12, 14 now, but I didn't like being said, oh, we don't have anything your size. Like you said from Pretty Woman, oh, there's nothing for you here. You can't shop here.
Mhm.
And then the irony is that happened in Versace in Paris. I was looking in Versace with my friend, and we picked up a shirt and was looking at it, put it down, and the lady comes up and says, "Don't touch anything." I said, "Well, how are we supposed to see if what's how the size is running?" She goes, "I will get it for you, but don't touch anything. There's nothing here in your size." Well, then 2 hours later, long story short, I run into a woman in a full-length sable coat right in front of Christian Dior, and I was telling her how much I loved her coat, and she was from Syria, and she said, "Would you could help me today shop?" So we took her shopping. We went back to Versace, and we spent $24,000 in Versace. And they were serving us champagne, the fine chocolates, and that was a pretty woman moment. It's in the
Yeah.
book, and I was like, "Nanny, nanny, boo, boo! Look what you could." So
No kidding.
it's like the success was the best revenge there.
Yeah, right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Oh
But
yeah.
Yeah, people don't take other people's feelings into consideration all the time. So if you don't like the way you're being treated, then don't treat people that way and use that example for that.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So true. Yeah. So you did. You had your very own pretty woman moment. That's so
I
funny.
did. Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
just, it's really fun to see people come out of their shell. And now we deal with hairstyle and makeup, and I told you I wear makeovers, and some women, I don't want to just say women, but mostly women will wear the same hairstyle from college, I mean from high school, all the
Hmm.
way through college. When they get married, they just keep it because that's all they know. So in the book, it explains how to try a new haircut without freaking out. And the best news is the hair will grow back. We're not talking about shaving your head. Do you know what I mean?
Right, right.
And so,
Absolutely.
like when I broke my neck, I had to wear a halo, so they have to shave your head and put this thing on you, you know? And actually like my hair that short. When I started to go see, I never would have shaved my head before. So I got the best out of it. Anyway, I went to Chanel for my makeover because we just got married. I broke my neck and I had to wear on my first anniversary, I'm in a halo with
Mm.
my head like this. And no, and so I went to the Chanel counter at Saks Fifth Avenue and they did a makeover on me, even though my head was like that. But I felt better. There's all these little tricks and tips you can do, no matter what your circumstances are. You can get free makeovers at the makeup counters.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
mentioned all these things. So, and then you learn if you like any of the makeup. So you're not buying everything if you don't even know how to put it on or if it's going to look good on you or not. So anyway, I want
Yeah.
people to use their money to their fullest benefit and define their lifestyle. So that's why this chart is so helpful because you have to find out what your lifestyle is today. So like with you, maybe when you go to speak, you're going to wear a different outfit than you might be wearing today on the show.
Right,
So
right.
in your closet, you can have your two or three superwoman jump into 100% fabulous, powerful looking speaking engagement outfits. I went to a luncheon and the speaker was a very famous person in the financial world, very, very famous. And so they had the luncheon was like here, but the stage was higher. So you looked up at her. She was wearing pants that really were too tight in her crotch. And
Oh,
I have like, well, I call it the style shakes. When I'm looking at someone and they're an attractive person, and in this case could buy anything they wanted, is not looking in a full length mirror before she leaves the house or doing the sit down test. But I couldn't listen to what she was saying because what she was wearing was so distracting that
mhm,
she was, not doing herself a service. So
mhm.
she wasn't meeting her own lifestyle needs.
Yeah, that's so
But
interesting. Yeah,
yeah, and I was very good though. I didn't myself was very good because I wanted to go backstage right after the luncheon, but I didn't have an entree to that. But I have to always figure out how to approach people when they're making very, very bad decisions, and they could make a much better decision for the same money if someone just tells them about it. That's why I
right.
appreciate you having me on the show, so maybe people can learn. If they don't work with me, they can look at this book and really learn something and not put
Yeah.
themselves in that position.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you've given so many good tips. So, what would you say are some really practical tips that anybody can do, like right now, right out of the gate, that can
Yeah,
make a difference for how they feel about themselves, how they
right.
present themselves? What would that be?
Well, the very first thing is you have to clean out your closet and your drawers, and that's probably the last thing people want to hear because it's work intensive or whatever. And you should do it with a friend because if you do it yourself, you're not objective enough. Or you hire someone. There's plenty of people in any part of the country that could do it, hopefully. Um, because you want to be left with everything in your closet that fits you. You feel good in it. You're wearing it now, and it's making sure you're not wearing the wrong underwear. That's the biggest thing. Because then on your shopping list will be, I need new seamless bras. Because seamless bras are the first thing you should buy. So it's if you don't have one, just buy one thing. You just have to buy one seamless bra, and you'll see how different it looks in your tank tops, your t-shirts, or whatever. So cleaning out your closet and making a shopping list so that you can go shop for the things you really need. So then you're like, okay, I don't have a lot to spend. So thrifting, first thing, that's the lowest tier. And I love thrifting. What I'm wearing right now, I thrifted this top. You can't see it, but let me see if I do this. No, can't see
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I just remember I turned it around. It has a big pair of red lips on it because lips are my trademark.
Yeah.
Live in personal style. That's what LIPS
Oh,
stands for. So I
nice.
have these big pair of lips because I can turn it around and wear it for this, or I can wear it to bed. I like to buy things that I call do double or triple duty. So not just doing one thing. You can wear it with more than one thing. So when you buy something, you take it home and shop it through your closet. Like I bought this at a thrift store. I said, "Oh, this is great. I can wear it because it's so hot when I do an interview or whatever. I can wear it like this, add some pearls, but then if I'm having friends over, I can put on just turn it around, have lips on. It's my personality, you know. But you
Mhm.
think about what you're buying and what many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
That's a practical tip right there.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and then look at what you need from the shopping list that you made, but you're going to try everything on as you go through your closet. So that's time consuming and it's also frustrating because you're going to find things that are too small, maybe too big, and maybe things that you got 25 years ago and you're never going to wear it. So I say for the things 25 years ago that you're never going to wear, take a picture of it and then donate it. For the things that are too big, you make the decision, does it work in my wardrobe? If it does, put it in an alteration pile. If it doesn't, donate it or sell it on, Facebook Marketplace or eBay. If it's too small, but you love it so much and you hope you'll get into it, get an old suitcase out or those plastic bags and put them in that. Take everything out of your closet that's too small that you desperately still want to keep, put it in that plastic bag, or under the bed. So now every morning, every day, when you open your closet doors, everything fits. It looks beautiful. You feel good in it. And that starts to really pick up your self-esteem and your and how you feel about yourself. So, and as I said, if you don't have the money right now, thrift stores are so great. Thrift stores are a big business now. See, they never used to be, but now they're a big business. And they even put things by sizes now. And they never did that before. And like I found an Hermes sweater for $5. Now Hermes is a store in Paris, and it's very expensive. The sweater was probably $600, but it was too small for someone, so they just donated it. And then I found it became a treasure that I gave to someone else that was a small. They have a lot of Ann Taylor, they have all different levels, a lot of Chicos, but you can find gently worn clothing in these Goodwills or thrift stores. And then the consignment store is next. Consignment stores, you bring your stuff to it that you're not wearing to make money back that you can spend there on clothes that to refresh your wardrobe. But don't just buy something because it's a good price. That's one of my biggest things that when I do people's wardrobes, I'll find a lot of things with price tags on them. I go, there's like a dozen or more things in the price tag. She goes, well, I never found anything to wear with it. Why did you buy it? Because it was a good price. Well, those prices add up. Those 12 things come to $300. You could have put into a wonderful blazer that you'd be wearing a lot and get more money out of it. So it's all about not being self-control. It's a win if you leave a store with nothing as it is if you leave a store with something.
Ah, good line. I like that. Yes, it is. It is. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to leave with something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you always feel like if I went in, I'm supposed to buy something.
Yeah. Yeah. Great tip. One thing that I find too when I clean my closet is my blood pressure, I think, is lower walking into a closet that's not full.
Isn't that interesting? Really?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
you need to start the activity out with good music. I always say put some good music on and have a bowl of grapes and some cheese sticks and crackers so that because you're going to be anxious. That's an anxiety thing. It's triggered something in you. You're anxious because it's not full or it's too full. Either
Mhm.
way, you got to look in there and it's anxious. So if you have some good music on, I'm not a wine drinker, but if you want to have a glass of wine while you're doing it. And if you have a friend over, it makes it so much fun. And you have a pad there and a pencil because you're going to be writing things down. I'm throwing out 3 pair of black pants, so I know I'm going to need another pair of black pants. You write on the list, black pants. So take the anxiety away. Just start writing a shopping list because you know you're going to fill it up again. But this time you're going to fill it up with what you need and it's going to make you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Such great tips. All of those.
Oh, good.
Yeah. 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 It makes me want to go clean my closet right now.
Oh, good. I wish I was there. I'd help you. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
know. I wish
well,
you were here too.
I know, but
Yeah.
have a girlfriend that you trust her fashion sense in the sense that she takes time to look good herself. She doesn't have to be a
Mhm.
beauty queen. Nobody has to be a beauty queen. It's just is she selecting clothes that make her look and feel good? And if that is the case, you would respect her opinion, then she'll respect your opinion. You go back, then you'll book her go back to her house and help her another day. It's a whole day though, really. It's to do it
Yeah.
right. You're looking at least 6 hours.
Yeah, I would imagine. So,
This-
so I know women, I have friends who wonder if they have a style, what their style means. And you talked about, well, what is your lifestyle? And then
Right.
clothes that fit your lifestyle. But even with that, you have a hard time feeling good
Yeah,
and
let
stuff
me
or
help you with that.
knowing what to buy,
Right.
right?
Let me help you with that. So, like, go sit in a mall or a decent restaurant where people are wearing nicer clothes. Like, you don't want to go sit, um, in a fast food joint. You want to go sit in a cafe or a restaurant that the clientele that will come in there to eat are going to be dressed up somewhat. And then start observing people, like I told you how I did in Paris. And
Mhm.
you go, you know what? I like that style there. I not like that style. It's too frilly for me. I don't want ruffles or this or that, but I like that tailored look. So then it starts registering what your style is because you're visually learning about it. Like in the magazines, they're good to look at magazines for ideas, but high fashion or magazines are not for everyone. But
Mm.
someone may be eating at La Madeleine, for example. I don't know if you have those. It's a French cafe restaurant. Um, a lot of international people go there. It's not that expensive, but they have a little surprise with their outfit. So
Mm.
you're observing their hairstyle, you're observing how they wear their makeup, you're observing the tops and bottoms, shoes, everything that they're wearing. So you can either write it down or make mental notes until you zero in on something like that's the style I've been looking for, but I didn't know how to find it or I didn't know how to put it into words.
I love that. That's such great advice. What
Thank
about
you.
color?
Well, remember in the 80s,
You'd get your
um, bra
color done.
bravo to them. Somebody
Yeah.
made a lot of money with the color charts.
Uh-huh.
I was never for that in the sense that I was for it and not for it. I was for it because for people that don't have a clue, they gave them a clue.
Mm.
Especially like the color you're wearing today is perfect for a blonde, for example. And if you had known that then, they would have said, "Oh, this is the family that's going to look good on you." So I say bravo to that. But then they said you can't wear these other colors, and there really isn't a color you can't wear if you're willing to adjust your makeup and accessories to go with it. So a lot of people don't look good in like a taupe. Taupe is a tough color, I feel, because it can make your skin look really taupey and sickly. Or if you're very dark, then it still makes it, this is not a pleasant color. But if you have on cheek blush and like a pink lipstick or a red lipstick or a coral lipstick, it immediately pops this color here.
Ah,
And then
right.
you can wear there's so much jewelry to pick from in the world. If you're wearing taupe, you wear an orange, a pink, a big gold necklace. So that throws light on your face. So
Mm.
you can really wear any color, but you have to be willing to adjust your makeup and your accessories. You can wear wonderful scarves, blah, blah, blah. It makes a big difference. But if you're in a fast lifestyle with the kids and you're just busy, you go to work, you have to pick them up, blah, blah, blah. You don't have time for all this other stuff. Don't buy the color because you don't have the time to put into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Only,
my gosh,
only,
great advice.
thank
Yeah.
you.
What about white versus cream?
I love both of them.
Yeah.
They're two of my very favorite non-colors.
Yeah.
I think monochromatic, that's what the word is when you wear all one color, like all
Mm.
black or all white or all cream. It's really called winter white now.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
there is
Much,
cream
much.
also. There
Yeah.
is winter, but I love them all because they're very angelic and they're soft and feminine looking. So I go mad for those, and I have a whole wardrobe of that. And again, your accessories can change the tone if you think the white or the cream looks better. Um, but most outfits require some lipstick.
Yeah.
Like I have in my book, the 5-minute makeup, the 7-minute makeup, and the 20-minute makeup.
Oh.
So yeah, like today I have on the 10-minute makeup. So I'm wearing eyewear instead of wearing mascara and eyeliner. I have
Hmm.
eyebrows on, but I don't have eyeliner on or mascara on because I enjoy wearing my glasses because that's part of my lifestyle, personality. I have a whole wardrobe of eyewear
Yeah.
and it
I
changes
love
my
your
look.
glasses. They're
Oh,
so cool. Yeah.
thank you. So that helps. And then as you age, sometimes you get lines under your eyes. Don't tell anyone. Or bags under your eyes. But eyewear is a great coverage for that as well.
Mm.
And then, like a lot of women and men are getting this LASIK surgery, I think it's called. What was it? When you have cataracts,
Oh, right.
then you
Yeah.
then you don't have to wear you don't have to wear your glasses anymore. But I say no, still wear your glasses, but you put just natural frames in them because, or if you don't have any aging process going on under your eyes, don't wear the glasses. If you're like putting on makeup all the time, don't wear your glasses. My lifestyle is very busy. I don't have time to do the full 20 minutes all the time. I put the glasses on, so it's a good concealer and easy to deal with.
Ah, nice. Gosh, great advice. I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
Well, this is a journey to style this book because I had to learn it all because there was no one else. I try working with other fashion consultants. They don't see things the way I do. I really believe in that day with God, when he said I would learn how to do it, he gave me a sixth sense. Like I feel like it's almost like a superpower. I know it sounds really odd, but I can look at someone and completely know within a minute what I could do to help them look even more beautiful if it's necessary.
Yeah. Nice.
It's not necessary all the time, but it's just like right now, I look at you, I don't see anything to change.
Oh, you're so
No,
sweet. Well,
no, it's
thanks.
true. No,
Yeah.
your makeup looks great, your hairstyle looks great, your eyes are so pretty. Um,
Well,
it's
thanks.
just yeah, and it goes with your background, you know. And if you were doing a speaking engagement, I would say put a blazer on over the tank top. Otherwise, for this situation, it's perfect, you know. But
Oh, thank
I
you.
want to help people,
Hmm.
and then some people you're a professional and you've been learning yourself. That's why you know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome, like everything that you're doing, because it is so important that you like how you feel. You come off with more confidence and you feel better about what you're doing and
Yeah, you have
open
more
other
fun.
doors. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's
even
so
when
good.
like people come from the third world countries and come here and they're trying to get a job, they need to go, they don't need to, but it's helpful, I feel, to say to go to a thrift store and the men should buy a collared shirt and preferably a light blue or a white one and have and iron it and just wear it with a pair of khaki pants, a leather belt, and buy a pair of shoes there. And so their first impression is, oh, they look like they've already been working well somewhere else. They look successful.
Mhm.
Maybe they paid $8 for that whole outfit.
Right.
But
Right.
it's not
Gotcha.
good if you go and they're wearing a t-shirt, has a spot on it. Anything that's got spots on it is always trouble, or a hole is trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. That
You know,
goes in the throwaway bin, not even the
yeah,
donate bin.
no, or the rag bin. I put them in the rags.
Yeah. This has
Yes.
been so great. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything.
Oh,
Hold
I'm
your
so
book up
honored.
again. I love, love, love the cover and I love the look of the book. And you give so much great information in there. Everybody buy the book, buy it. Where can people buy your book right now?
On Amazon, Amazon.com, Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style by Gayla Bentley. It's a memoir. But I'd love you to read all my antics and all the wild things that I did, but how God had pulled me through some of the worst things that people could ever go through.
Yeah.
And not
Amazing.
only bring me back, but bring me back at another level. He keeps helping me climb another level. Like right now, I told you I'm doing this wonderful time with Kim. That's another level. I wasn't doing podcasts before. And now the book, someone's even approached me about doing a movie. Well, can I tell you a really good movie? I want to promote this movie. It's called The Jesus Revolution. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that movie. It was so good. Such a good
Was that
movie.
wasn't that a
Yeah.
good movie? Well, one of
Yeah.
the people, I'll just say on that movie, I won't say who, has read the book and is showing interest in helping me with the book for maybe a movie.
Wow.
So
That's
I,
awesome.
but yeah, but see, again, more popular, it needs to be more popular. So you can give me a review on Amazon. If people have to see that
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about, and people would come in anyway.
Yeah.
But I do believe
Exactly.
it's in God's timing and
Yeah.
having this experience like with someone like yourself. It's been such a blessing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
Loved
much.
every
You're
minute of it.
fabulous. I love you so
So
much.
are
It's
you.
so wonderful. And buy the book. Don't just buy one, buy more than one. Send
Oh,
gifts. Amazon will send it for you. Like you
for
don't have
free.
to send it, but
Yeah.
send it. Great birthday gift. Great any day at
Thanks,
Mother's
Kim.
Day. Great just because I love you
Yes.
kind of a gift. And
Thank you.
it's fabulous in every way. So thank you again for being here. Thank you all for being here. And until
Yes,
we
thank
see
you all.
each other again, I just pray that you keep your heart open and live your love loud.
Oh, I love that.